In August 2022, I was selected to be a part of Pepeta Malawi satellite schools to learn about how to best document women's history in Malawi and Africa. The workshop took place from 11 February to 12 February 2023 at Komola Coffee in Blantyre. It was such a wonderful workshop that not only was helpful to me as a writer, but made me appreciate the works that women have done in Malawi that remains foreshadowed. In this video, I wanted to highlight some of the important discussions that were had throughout the workshop, and I hope you enjoy them. But before we begin, just a few words from Tao. So this particular workshop or session is the second in a series of 4 workshops that have happened in Malawi and Zimbabwe under the Writing Women's Leadership in Southern Africa project. This project was aimed to situate the many ways in which women enact and experience leadership in Southern Africa. And in Malawi specifically, particularly as it pertains to this activity, it was around retrieving the voices of Malawian women and girls in history. So what we tried to do with this meeting or these days was to just bring together a group of diverse, exceptional young women who were interested in learning not only about Malawian history, but specifically Malawian women's history and the different leadership roles that Malawian women have played throughout history. So this workshop has been around talking about things that we didn't know and of people who did know, and of the things that we did know, discussing them a little bit further. And it has targeted about a total of 75 young women in Malawi alone and about 75 again in Zimbabwe.
Okay. Welcome. You're gonna start with introducing yourself. Sorry to put you on the spot.
It's like women are required to be sexual beings. So the Miganda Imakala, the symbol of women as a sexual being, where because yes, it's usually linked to that element of even that is and whatnot. That's what they go to learn. So this is like fertility. It's a symbol of fertility and things like that.
And now bring up lots of words. Sexuality. I'm loving what's going on here. Tradition, attraction.
I feel like the way Uganda is practiced now has erased that tradition because when you're looking at history of Uganda, a child starts going in Uganda as soon as they are brought into the family. So that's after 3 months when they are recognized as a child. When they start their first period, that Miganda changes as well into Kuti, who has now become a woman. When she reaches another stage in life as well, when she gets older, I think there's another stage as well. It changes again. When she becomes married, it changes again. After her first child, it changes again.
Didn't even know that.
Girl. Right now, most people don't know about
it. So there's all of these cultural connotations. I like that you brought that up. That come with Uganda. I was in the US last year, and it was very annoying. Just basi iwo basi wangofuna
vibes.
I used to get so annoyed, and everyone would wonder, why are you so mad about this? You just pass everywhere you see a black woman, a caravan. What culture are those from? They're from the motherland.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't even know.
Some of them, when you hear some of them, like in Western Africa, you hear that Ugandan Taizina, it's spiritual.
Yeah.
Spiritual, and it can mess up your whole life.
Like I recently watched a TikTok of like a woman who her mother had a Nigerian lover, so he bought her beads.
Oh, I watched that one.
And then so the mom was like, I'm sorry guys, my language is very colorful. I don't know.
No, it's fine.
Okay. The lady didn't really fuck with the man, so she decided, she's like, I'm not gonna wear his beads. So now the daughter takes the beads and starts to wear them. Amazuga mama miganda de papiro. Amazuga, like, she would take them off sometimes, she'd wake them up, she'd wake up with them on, and even the dreams that she started to have were very wild.
Yeah.
So simply basically, I guess when people, we have sort of like erased the
connotations. True.
But I actually didn't know that in my Sinti.
Miganda is also sometimes used as a form of communication when it comes to the bedroom in the community setting. So instead of like me, if I'm on, I just be like, hey baby, you're not getting it. I'm like, that's if you go on the edge.
Yeah.
Just put it if you've missed it, you've missed it. But in the community, what they do is because they don't want to say good in Dayamba period on Mwezi. So she would take off her red migande and put it like up there on the wall, so that when the man comes, as a result, oh madam Udota no Jani. And then when she's done, Amavula the wig so white and that's when she would know, oh okay, now game on.
And additionally, for adolescent girls, Miganda have been used to track the menstrual cycle.
Oh yeah.
So for family planning as well. So yeah, it's very interesting. We're learning a lot. Honestly, I did not know all of this about Uganda. But that's just to say that even culture. So yeah.
progressed in their own culture. Our progression was influenced by other people. So we have always moved with the times until Kamu said no. To the theatre in Malawi. I really love the theatre in Malawi, like the history of theatre in Malawi, and how after one remarkable person in theatre in Malawi, it stopped, but it reduced. When Jew died, theatre changed in Malawi.
I lost my father-in-law. And they was it 2 years ago? If it's not 3 years ago. So we went to Kumari, right? So obviously me as a Mpongozi, I'm expected to be Kujani. So me, even if it's my own family, tomato, onions, cabbage, whatever, yeah. So I think it's a woman around and the again at one day. So I think that, come on. and I have a name, but and I thought they were joking. No, sister girl was not joking. With that big chico. And then you see my dad, it's like, hey, guys, one channel that moves in. But I'm right there, right? You can just some Sharon, it's your 10. Guys, one channel that moves in. I realized that. He's putting a show. So I'm like, but I was honest with them, like, I've never done this before and don't expect me to, like, because I don't know. I'm trying to see my perception. That person. She actually forced, that's my husband's aunt. She gives me the table. And then like I'm trying my best and whatever. They start laughing, you know. So there's this one aunt that I get along with. It's like, and that time I only had one baby. It's like, I'm a pig and see my now you're telling me good pig and see my aunt. Yeah, I'm being very joint. I got choke and corn, you know, my moon and so good is I won't pick it and done it. So I feel like at some level it's still being practiced. It cannot be directly, but it's a form of also evaluating you. Are you the right bongos?
But what makes you not right in failing to cook?
I actually feel like, and somehow, Eddie, we're taught these things when we're young. We just don't know we're being taught. Yeah, like kupika masanje and
in you know misika mujanjani, and then we had that movement on the gulise ndikugule maondivule. Yeah, so you know all of that. So we looked at power, how men have that power, and then how it all started was just because amatamangisa mavenda. Why did it come back to women? You know, or because of dress. When you ask them, well, how are we supposed to dress? No, they're selling us the same thing. So we just looked at, you know, economically, what does that look like? As a woman, what does that look like? If you dress like this, if you're Malawian, what does it look like? So our facilitator just ended with just asking us, so after this discussion, what can you choose to, like, you know, what would you, as a Malawian woman? So at the end, it was just you choose what you want to wear. You can't really put to say, I know as a Malawian, everybody mentioned, but for me, if I would go to show myself, I send you know, but at the end of it, it's more on just choice.
A beautiful girl has to have a big butt. So if you have that, boys consider you pretty, you know, something. So the big butt, hips, light skin.
Fortunately.
Where's the big bag?
You're on a roll. Have to be flawless too. Flawless, submissive, Coca-Cola body shape. So
Okay, the old one.
this one, not this one.
that's me. You have to be soft, have natural hair, because men don't like kulivila, my prices into that makeup, the whole thing. So yeah, they want someone with natural hair, natural look, big eyes.
You didn't have to point.
Come on.
Yeah, so you have there, dimples, and gappy. That's all we had. Yeah.
Sometimes like it's also a disservice to not only you but then the women that you're coming from. You say like, let me change this, let me change that. Imagine if your grandmother said that you didn't like the way her butt looks.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. This was a very interesting and insightful topic, right? Please do read. We're going to share the material, right?
I will share readings, I'll share sources, everything.
Yeah. Please do indulge.
Woohoo!
What's gonna be the name for that?
Miss Shorty.
Making it fancy.
What were you gonna say?
Charles, would you like to say?
But I mean, it's African.
Would you like to say something?
Yeah. So just to say thank you guys so much for day one. I just want to hear like a couple of words on how we're feeling now that Sibulata. Just one word, how are we feeling? It could be negative or positive. Just want to get some feedback from you. Read the room a bit. We're gonna start there. The side. How are we feeling? Just one word.
As I said, Islam was introduced in the 15th century by Arabs and Swahili traders, while Christianity was introduced in the 19th century by, that resulted into different churches called the Anglican Church, Church of Central Africa, Presbyterian, the Roman Catholic Church, and some other churches that you know. So I said there is an idea of newness, and I said it is controversial in the sense that we're looking at new, talking of the very first time whereby Christianity's missionaries are coming in for the first time, and also new, we're talking about the Pentecostal churches that are coming in soon after the missionaries come. So, you done?
Yeah.
Alright. The other thing that I want to show you. Okay, so as we have said, religion, in as much as we feel like it empowered women in many ways, as I said, it trained women to have careers, there were nurses and all that, it also marginalized them in a way. And the very first way in which religion marginalized women, it was through the verses that religion used. So I'll just show you 2 verses, but then there are a lot of them, actually 3. So the first one is 1 Timothy 12. It says, can someone read?
I do not permit a woman to teach.
You can raise your voice.
I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet.
Alright. It says a woman is not supposed to teach, supposed to remain quiet. So what do you think about this verse?
I think, as I already said earlier, it just shows okay, as I said earlier, it shows that men are supposed to be superior over women, and women are supposed to just to follow whatever men decide. So they shouldn't really give their views or in any decision making platform. They are just supposed to be followers, basically.
Okay, if you're a woman, you're just supposed to be a follower. Okay, someone to read the second one.
1 Corinthians 14. This is the woman should keep quiet in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be in submission, as the law also says. If there is anything they desire to read, let them ask their husband at home. For it is shameful for a woman to speak in church.
Okay, it is shameful for a woman to speak in church. We also have some other verses of which I didn't write them down, but then the idea is the church also used some verses to marginalize women. You're not supposed to speak if you're a woman. You're not supposed to say a word. If you have a problem, you should go ask your husband. That's the only one you can help with, and we know where this is coming from. The husband is the head of the house, whether he doesn't know a thing, but as long as he is the head, he's supposed to be the one to teach. So others have argued that Christianity was kind of patriarchal, of which that's not our focus today. We're not going to focus on that because it's a debate on its own. But we're going to continue and say, if you thought that was the case, women were not quite fighters. We've always fight, we've always fought in a way. So there were some women who rose during this time as leaders in different churches. So they either started churches or they were just spiritual leaders. But the most surprising thing is, even though this was the case, it's not like they were allowed to own a church or to preach in a church. For example, if one of those guys is coming from Sisabi, it's not like you're going to preach in a Sisabi church. You're supposed to find a house, gather there and do your thing. So I'll show you the names, but then we'll talk about their history.
Just
when something triggers her, it comes about. But then because it was settled when she was young, that she has exactly, because her father apparently left her when she was young, left her mother when she was young, and then she got affected, and then she got like it's because of that. She doesn't have a father figure, she's detached, so she was possessed by demons, angry and everything like that.
Yeah. For me, I feel like there's a thin line between the Louisa and epilepsy. Yes, because I've got a cousin who's epileptic, and reading this, I'm pretty sure they're like more or less the same. And because it's in the community, I'm sure if she was staying in the community, people would assume that is Louisa, but in actual sense, it's just epilepsy.
So you know, like how she's explaining, Goody the cousin, it's more of Goody because the father figure left.
Daddy
You
issues.
see how Goody the guys had left to go to town,
yes, you see?
and then
It's
later,
literally the same thing.
literally the same thing where they're like, okay, no, they're feeling some type of way. Okay, no, she's detached. That's why this is happening. So it's like, you know, it does circle around just that, like that understanding, and that's not Galigari. And that's Galigari, they were saying, okay, it was like that, it was like this, and it just shows how Amaganiza made on you. Because I'm thinking, there was a time in schools, I don't know, boarding. I think it was called something malaria. What is it? Like, among like I don't know. You guys never happened in your schools? Because I remember every time we mentioned this story, I remember the first that used to happen at our school. I said, but why? The thing is, it was so crazy because it was only happening to women. So it was so crazy. Chase the person, catch them, and it would happen to so many people, and it was like, what's this? And I remember one of the oldest women, like I remember she used to teach us literature as well. She said, no, it's easy, there's a spirit that is going around in the hostel. Oh, and it was like this whole thing, we had to sing songs. Now I'm remembering now. It's like, it was
a therapy.
Some of us were just excited, hey, there's no class. I don't know, but you know, and I was really young, because I remember I should have been, was I 10, 11 when I went to boarding? I was very young. Why did they send me to boarding? For one. Like I was really young. Yeah, so it was like now I'm thinking like people they were like sing these songs about women and the women are saru, no pants, no child, and then they were singing literally, and like it was like whatever, because there's an evil spirit.
It was definitely the Louisa dance.
You relate stuff like the epilepsy you're saying to like a mental health disorder or something?
I don't know if you can call it like a it is mental because it does affect. So it's mental. Yeah.
Because I have a cousin who, I don't know whether we should call it like epilepsy or she just has episodes like we'll be having a good time and she just starts like touching her head, doing all sorts of things, feeling like she would just be acting out of place, and we won't be like, okay, what's happening? She just saying things are spinning, she has to be taken in the bed and just laid to rest. Sometimes she does the feeding thing. So like everyone is just confused that we don't know what this is. You have gone to hospitals, nothing helps.
Like the one that I'm saying to my cousin, it only happens at night when she's sleeping. So she will have, I think, every month she will have probably 1 or 2 episodes, but it only happens, like it never happens during the day. So it happens.
My cousin is on every Sunday, and she doesn't sleep at night. She only sleeps at 4 a.m. And it's like it torments her, and you can't help her. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it because somebody else, Tina and her friend, Dr. Tina and her friend, has documented about it. So female slavery, as I've said, it wasn't really an issue. What we know about mostly is the transatlantic slave trade. You know, I think all of us did history, right? Yes, at a point it was known of the triangle trade and all that. And mostly the people we associate that with are men, not really women. But then women also have a history. Women also have a story to tell about the slavery thing. Actually, it was interesting that in Malawi during that time, a lot of things were happening. Actually, 3 things were happening. So it was a time whereby slave trade was going on. At the same time, people were coming in, were migrated from South Africa, Swahili were coming, the Ngonis were coming, a lot of people were coming. So at the same time, Christianity also, well, it was also the time where Christianity came in. So it's like they had 3 experiences: the coming in of Christianity or the missionaries, at the same time the coming in of the other immigrants, and also the slave trade going on. So these 3 things left Malawian women with different kinds of experiences. But then it was never recorded. It was never documented for some reasons. But then it was going on anyway. So we're going to talk about the slavery of women. So I'll be reading because it's historical and I've been a lot. Sorry. Alright, so female slavery has been one of the least investigated, as I already said, subjects in African history. In fact, it was only recent that African slavery in general, in contrast to the transatlantic slave trade, began to reserve the scholarly attention it deserved. Scholars who had conducted studies on African women and slavery, such as Clara Robertson, Claude, and John, had stereotypes about women and slavery. For example, the stereotypes that were going on was a vast majority of slaves within Africa were actually women, and that a high price was paid for female slaves than male slaves were. It has been argued that because women played significant and varied roles in society across Africa, slave traders, both male and female, preferred to return female slaves while selling their male counterparts to European and Arab traders. So this is just a stereotype that we're going to come back to. The other stereotype was slavery in Africa was more on a continuum of various statuses of being unfree, and not just a single status of defined single status, just as a single status defined by chattel slavery. The last stereotype was slavery changed during colonialism, ending in some societies, continuing in others, and lacking on new and taking on new forms in yet another. I'll read that again. Slavery changed during colonialism, ending in some societies, continuing in others, and taking on new forms in yet others. So those who did history, or the historians that time, only had those kind of stereotypes to say, okay, slavery wasn't really a thing that ended, but then the coming of colonialism was just maybe ending of slavery here, it will continue at another place, or else it will just take another form. And the other stereotype was women were the ones who were really selling than men. And the last stereotype is slavery was just a status, a matter of status. Like you do slavery for the sake of prestige and all that. Now, let's talk about female slaves in Malawian societies. What do you think? She's talked about slavery in different ways, but then that was a general thing. What do you think slavery was like in Malawi? Talking of the 3 experiences that women were going through, what do you think slavery was like? Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? What was the impact of slavery to women in Malawi? Guys who did history, you're kind
I did geography.
Okay, the question is, what do you think was the experience of Malawian women during slavery? We gave in a general answer, that was what was happening elsewhere, but then in Malawi, knowing that we're going through 3 different experiences, what do you think it was like? Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? What was the experience like?
It was a bad thing because I heard some women who had children. I'm a Bangisaguri. I don't. I see now, guys. Since the babies are having, so they should be slow when they were at work. So it dehumanized them in a way.
Okay. Dehumanize. Wait. There's an answer there.
after her.
Experience of slavery in Malawi, I don't think was a good thing. It made, when you hear of slavery in Malawi, you hear most of the time it was stronger tribes selling off the weaker tribes. So there was this, I forgot what it was called, Goma Amkanina. They would, when they were passing by the slaves, Amkayanzinde. So Amkanina, they say, like tormenting them. Doing more.
Yeah. Continue. Yeah, she wanted to say something.
I think I'll just mention about displacement of like families, especially in Malawi, when usually slaves, when men are taken, and usually Amadenga like strong, they'll take the strongest, is what they would say. So for women already, that was something that was said. Even the women, they'll take like the women that they feel like, okay, this could bear children, this would actually work, because they were still seen as caregivers even as slaves, right? So that was still taken on, even with the African, whatever, it's just at home, and when they do that. So also displacement of families, it's like someone taking your child away from you. That's something very traumatizing and emotional. So I feel like, obviously, definitely for me, it wasn't a good thing.
During yesterday's session, the already session you about the marriage at courtship one. There was also a point where they were saying that one of the tribes, I think, I don't know if it's Yao or whatever, they would practically get a Tiga and to force them into marriage. So I see there are several effects from there. One, they would force marriage here, which will end up into like early pregnancy, which might have complications, and also like the emotional trauma and all that. So I think the slavery, most times when people talk about slavery, we're only looking at the whites practicing it on like the blacks, but there was also like within ourselves there was some sort of slavery that was going on.
Okay, I wanted to talk about economic empowerment on the part of the women. Since then, Kwambiri, my head of the families, were men. So when the men were taken to slave trade in other countries, that means they crippled the women economically, as they were left in the villages with no one to fend for them. So that way they were insufficient.
Alright, yes, what you've said is true. But then, as I've said, we're going through 3 experiences. So because of these 3 experiences, the victims were mostly wives, or I should say were mostly women and children. Now I will explain why, so you have to pay attention. So studies shows that victims of the intensified slave trade and okay, sorry, I should start from here. According to Maliwa, the warriors made it a point of killing female captives, of not killing female captives, especially if they were unmarried and without children. So I've talked about the migrants coming in. So you have to know that these migrants didn't just come in, they were warriors. So for them to find a place to stay, they had to fight. So them having to fight, they had to leave women. Like they didn't have to kill them. But then the men, they could have killed them. So we're going to find out why.
Well, for me, I'll say again that I feel informed and I feel like I've networked with each and every one of you guys, great personalities, and there's really a lot to learn. And from everything that was discussed from yesterday up to today, I think my history background with regards to Malawi was really poor. I didn't know, like, I would say maybe 1 out of 10. That's how far my skill goes with regards to Malawian history and everything relating to women, health, and whatever discussion I've had. Because mainly, I guess, because we did British history and I never got to learn Malawian history. And it was quite interesting, and some things now make sense. They're like, oh, that's why this is done, or oh, that's how this came about and whatnot. And also what stood out for me, there was the second to last discussion we had about women and health, yes? Yes, and also how to practice safe sex.
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
So, yeah. Sharon and I have a pending conversation about that. So yeah. Pardon?
So as I said yesterday, I am feeling enlightened, but I'm also happy and excited for the experience that I've had here. Like, first of all, like, everybody, getting to know everyone was a very wonderful experience. I made new friends. I was able to learn a lot from each and every person that was here, because the discussions, the conversations that we've had is not something that I normally have where I am. So yeah, for that, it was really nice. The one thing that stood out for me, I think, I grew up, yes, in a female-dominated household, but then to have, like, because all the heroes that I have are like from books or like from movies and everything, but to have actual real-life people that walked the same streets that we are walking and lived in the same environment and economic and political situations that we're in, and to have learned that they actually were able to succeed and fulfill their dreams, for me is something that was very profound, because I didn't know all these names that we've learned here. So for me, it's like, now I have people to look up to. Now I have names that I can be able to point out that if this person was in Malawi and they were able to achieve this, what's stopping me? Why can't I be able to achieve this? So for me, I think that's what stood out most for me, and I think I'll carry that for like a very long time in my life. So thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay, but no, for me, I love history. And you think you know things, and you really don't sometimes, you know? And I think it was so amazing for me, because I've learned history from primary, I minored in it, and even learning African history, Malawian history, I didn't know these names. Like, I really didn't. And to know that we can have a curriculum that really just teaches that, I want to know more. Like, I want to continue to have this type of spaces to be able to learn even more. Like, it's been such a great experience. As she mentioned, meeting all of you guys, smart women, like it's so great. I feel like I strive in when, you know, women's spaces, my creativity spikes. And for me, with the women in dress, women in health have been my favorite topic. Women in dress, I really have some amazing ideas. Like, I'm so excited to even when I'm thinking about it, you know, I'm already planning, I'm going to do it like this, I'm going to do that. And to know that I'll be like, oh, Sandra, what about Japan? Like, you know, it's not something that if I forget, I can come back and say, okay, guys, and there's this part. Oh, do you want to do this? It's, you know, it's so amazing to have learned new things, to just be able to create in such an environment, and to continue to learn, and to also know that I'm going to continue creating and I'm going to continue learning. So it's been an unlearning process, a learning process, and also a relearning process. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I have learned so much from this program. Okay, when you sent the message, I think last week, about how we're doing it this week, I had completely forgotten that I'd done it. And so even when my dad was asking me, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Because I honestly didn't remember what I applied for. But to be able to be in a space where you learn so much about women and the work women have done in empowering themselves and advancing themselves, and to know that if even though they might have been overlooked, that didn't stop them, it's been an eye-opening experience. I really enjoyed women and health. I'm very passionate about abortion rights, so knowing, for me, women and health has helping me understand women and where they come from the different birthing experiences, the experiences with traditional medicine. I've really enjoyed that.
Oh, Baja, I forgot.
So I feel like I honestly carry the same sentiments like a lot of people, where it became something that I forgot that I applied for. I actually was talking to Carol. I was like, I forgot that we were chosen for this. But the motive when I applied was the fact that I love to write about the Kamuzu era, you know. So I feel like this came out just after I had reviewed Vera Chirwa's book. And so it was the perfect timing, because when I was reviewing the book, I realized that a lot of Malawian women's stories are not told. So I felt you highlighted about it in the first discussion. They're not told. So it came at the right time, because when I was reviewing the book, literally at the end of the blog, I said it. I made a promise. I was like, I'm going to highlight a lot of Malawian women's stories because we need to know about them, you know. So this came at the right time, and just having to learn everything that we've learned and whatnot, it kind of ties up to the thought process about like the thought processes that women had during the time. And I feel very motivated now to go back and start telling the stories again. I haven't been very active when it comes to blogging, but I'm more motivated now to go back and tell the stories and dig deeper in some of the stories that we don't know, of people we've never heard of. So yeah, this was an eye-opening workshop, and I feel very blessed to, you know, be here with all of you guys, meeting you guys, knowing you guys, and I hope, you know, we can work together as time goes. Anyone who would love to put out something on a blog or whatever, I have a website. You're always welcome to write. I open it up to anyone who has a story that is motivation and whatnot. She's been she's written for me some beautiful pieces, so I'm always open to anyone who would like to contribute and put their voices out there. So yeah, I feel very honored.
First of all, I think we had a really, really, really beautiful group. Like, we're different, but at the same time, the energy that we had, your participation, guys. Me too, I was like, hey, come on, or whatever. Like, I had reservations, but guys, from the first session, shout out to you guys. Yeah, and also for me, I can't say I knew everything that we were facilitating when we were learning. So for me also, especially the health one is the one that stood out for me. And the reason why I'm saying it stood out for me is because we've got women that should be celebrated, women that their names are supposed to be out there, but they're not, you know. So one takeaway from here is we need to amplify the work that these women, even like my sessions then asked what Mafusana, do you know, even for this one, I started with asking, who are the women in health that you know? And to my examples, because that is the only story that is there. But there are these beautiful women that did like remarkable work, and we don't know about them. So for me, the takeaway is document, as we already said, document, but also celebrate these women. But we can only celebrate them if we know them. So like the documentation for me is key. But again, guys, you're very, very good participants. Thank you so much.
Start offering courses.
So before I hand it back to Dr. Close, I want to say thank you. Like you guys have mentioned, so even like when I was sending the message, I was like, won't I get so because working with donors can be difficult. You make a plan for you, we're going to implement it in 6 months, we'll do it, we'll hammer it out, and they'll be like, no, maybe we'll hold on to your money for a little bit. But I'm so glad that when we put out the shot, like, hey, we're back, you guys are open and you're eager to come, and so I thank you so much, and I'm very humbled that you guys gave us a chance, because so, and just to say, I think just to echo, I think everyone's words, I've learned a lot. I'm also inspired by each and every one of you. And this is like Gary does. I think we can learn from her and say, I think all our the different spaces that we occupy, we can lead, I guess, like the women that have come before us, because what these women have been doing from the colonial times all the way to present, I think they've been paving spaces for women just like them, for the women in health, women in dress and everything. I think when you look at it, it's really just like different ways of survival. I think when I hear the stories, that's what I see. It's women creating space, carving out space that we survive. So then, yeah, I think, and also flourish, not only survive, we must flourish too. Yeah. So just to say that I am inspired by you guys, and I think each and every one of us are leaders. And so let's go forth, let's document, let's lead, let's flourish, and I wish you guys all the best, and thank you so much for taking time for us. Back to the studio.
Yeah, we're finally here. It's the end of the program. As Tadala said, just to thank everybody for making the time to come and, you know, really be intentional about wanting to learn something. I am the type of person who's just always trying to learn something. No matter where I go, I want to learn something new, especially for young women, as something that Dr. Jessica Buddha is always saying to me. Knowledge for a young woman, knowledge and education is something that the patriarchy can never take away from you. So when you make those intentional decisions to come into a space like this with other women, and you want to learn and you want to nurture yourself and you want to grow, you're gonna be the next women we're seeing in these modules. You're gonna be the next women that we're celebrating, and it's very nice to come into a space and be a part of that. So just to say thank you to everyone who's been here, who's been a part of the experience, and to say let the learning not stop here. Let's continue researching. If there's something that you caught your attention and you like, hey, I want to know more about this, there's always sources that can be shared. So let's keep engaging with each other, let's keep engaging on that group, and let's continue learning. I think that's all I can say. For me, this project is I love this project. I am so passionate about this project, and as Tadala said, you make plans and donors make other plans, so lots of delays, and it's been a difficult journey to get here, but it's very nice to see an idea materialize into something like this, and to see all of the amazing people who've been a part of this, from you participants to our great facilitators. You guys were amazing. Just give them another hand. So just to say, it's been a great experience. It's been great meeting all of you. And let's stay in touch until the road to Miss Malawi.
Yes. Yes. Best friend Wanda Nu.
From here. Okay, first no makeup, like natural. Okay, the other thing was hair. The hair was about no dyeing. Because the short could maybe somehow they wanted it. And also no extensions on the hair, like the natural hair. In that sense, goes with preference. Some people like tall
American height.
Yeah, others like medium short. Same goes with skin tone. Some people like black beauty. Some people like light skin women. So yeah, I'm a yellow boy.
Wow.
So that's what we discuss.
Ujen koka madzi, you know, koka jani about a woman. He wants sex. Basically, it was this. So I was like, I when I found out, I was like, how is Mbewazanga? And then when you really listen to the song, it's like, really, Mbewazanga was about sex, you know? It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I can even think of something as simple as Nyimbo ya Louisa.
Oh yeah.
We know it, right?
That's a no. That
Yeah, show us the t-shirt, yeah, show us the t-shirt, love it. Show us the food. Don't do one thing, right? How do again? Coordination enough. Okay, let's start with the song. Yeah, the song. No, try it slowly. Oh, you're doing this, eh? not.
Musabe.
Amina Tinta. It's I catch him and I put him down. So you're catching him and you put him down.
Because what would it eat you as the same way?
And then I catch and put him down. You say, but you're going down. Amina Tinta. I'll catch and put him down. I catch and put him down. I catch and put him down. And now we're going to go faster. Now that everyone knows the song.
No, because I have to take this.
Ready?
Huh? Guys, this is a tree.
So we're going to go around. We've come to the end of our 2-day sessions. So we're going. So we're going to go around. So we'll speak. We're all required to say this how we're feeling, and I guess one thing that I think out of all the things that was an example here, one of the few things that has stood out to you that I guess you're going to go out thinking about. So how you're feeling and one thing that you have learned that maybe you're going to go talk about, you're going to think about, write about.
Wow. Now I'm assigned to become a photographer. Miss Malawi. Wow. Miss Malawi.
1, 2, 3, everybody say her story.